I saw a Boeing business jet at the airport this morning. It looked unusual from the two places I had seen it, from the road on the northern side of the airport. I thought it might be an air tanker. It was windy and aircraft were landing from the north on runway 17. So I took the plunge and headed to the large car park beside the taxiway. If you hang around the airport long enough, you will get used to the lack of information on some flights in and out of the eastern side of the airport. It makes good sense for the defence flights not to reveal their details on flight radar. But this BBJ had no information available on where it was going, which is unusual. I've seen a number of charters involving smaller aircraft take off from Canberra in this way. It invites inquisitiveness. You've got to wonder who would fly a private jet into Canberra in January. Parliament isn't sitting at the moment. Summer holidays are in full swing. Most Canberra residents are still at the beach, at least the senior ones. There is nobody to meet. Some people say Canberra is the most boring city in Australia. Clearly they have never been to Hobart, but Canberra is not a place where you expect much business to be transacted in January. So I waited for the Virgin flight to clear and watched the BBJ move to the northern end of the runway. You get a better view of these aircraft if they take off from the south into the prevailing northerly wind. They have to come within 20 metres of the car park as they taxi to the end of runway 35. But today, a long distance shot would have to do. The aircraft is 2.5 kilometres from me at the moment. So when the aircraft rolled, it was very quick to get in the air. I timed the nose wheel lifting after 18 seconds. That seemed quick to me. ADSB said the aircraft was an 8 or 9 year old 737-700 belonging to the Boeing company. It did have the standard Boeing paint job, but there was still no information on destination, so I kept an eye on it for a while. It circled Gunning, a small town to the north of Canberra. So, here are a few bits and pieces I found online about the flight. It isn't much, but it is better than nothing. What followed was a very slow flight across the area from Gunning to the outskirts of Sydney at around 9,000 feet. The aircraft was flying at between 250 and 300 knots. They weren't in a hurry. The aircraft dropped to around 6,000 feet and took a leisurely flight over Kingsford Smith Airport. The aircraft was flying at around 240 knots. They then flew out over the ocean and took a slow journey across the mouth of Sydney Harbour and Sydney's northern suburbs. It was like they were on a sightseeing tour. The BBJ landed without incident on runway 16 at Sydney. There is no information available on the identity of the occupants or why they are in Australia, let alone why they desire extreme privacy. There is some speculation online that Boeing uses the aircraft for marketing purposes. Some people say that Boeing flies their sales teams and senior managers around the world on this aircraft. I'm not convinced by that explanation. It's an expansive way to fly. It could just as easily be a private charter. The whole experience shows me the value of using ADS-B over Flight Radar 24. A DSB is a much more useful piece of software, even if it is difficult to use at times. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this short tale of tracking a Boeing BBJ across New South Wales for entertainment and to get some practice with ADS-B exchange. If you know why the aircraft was in Canberra, please let me know in the comments section.